Hey V, how are
Hello.
you?
I'm too big. Wait, there. Hi.
Oh, it has been
A week?
a week. Yeah.
It has been a week, a very sunny week here in Sweden.
Yeah, it was really hot here on Saturday, and
It's disturbing to see so much sun in Sweden.
same thing with up here in Scotland too. It's just like sometimes it's like, oh, okay, we have more rain. Oh, that's normal. Now, this sun, what? What is that? But anyway,
Hi.
welcome back, everybody. I see that people are slowly popping in, and coming to join us today.
Yay.
Going to be going over, and what according to my notes here, we were going to go ahead and coming from last week, we were going to look at approvals, and getting those set up in our Plays the Thing company. We're
Floof.
gonna floof, yes, or no, I don't have a floof here. Okay, I'm
No, the
sorry.
company. What the floof?
Yeah. Um, anyway, sorry. We're gonna go ahead and talk about hopefully order promising, and under the for sales. Hopefully I have all of that stuff in my head of how to remember how to set that up. um,
Breathe.
Also, then we're going to try to do look at purchasing, and looking at the alternative order addresses,
Mm-hmm.
as well as doing some, talking about drop shipments, and in conjunction with the approvals, going over like purchase quotes and following that process from purchase quotes to purchase orders, maybe batch orders, and then going ahead and going over purchase return orders again. I know that we briefly went over that when we originally were testing things, but wouldn't since we're kind of doing the entire flow and the entire process, wouldn't hurt to go over it again just really quick. So yeah, I think that's a plan for the day. It might be a little. We'll see what we can get to. It might be a little ambitious. So,
Mm-hmm.
but uh, as always, people, if you do have questions or anything else, please don't hesitate to ask. We'll gladly go ahead and I'll try to, we'll both try to answer whatever questions we have here. If not, I can look it up later. Then we can have it ready for next time. Uh, so without any further ado, let's talk about. Dun, dun, dun. Let's talk about setting up approvals, because
Yes.
that's really what's going to be happening first. Approvals in the system they can be very complex. Not the setup portion of it. Microsoft has graciously gone ahead and put together a bunch of templates that you can use right out of the box, to go ahead and have things set up and ready to go, for various aspects of the system. First thing we need to do though is we need to make sure we need to actually tell BC that we're going to be using this. So if we look at the workflows, we have here's a nice, empty screen. There's this nice little button up here at the top. Workflows and workflows are the approval process
Mm-hmm.
of how you set up each individual like layer of okay, what are we doing, what are we doing, and how it needs to get done. That is closely linked, but but kind of separate from the approvals setup part of the setup. The approvals is who's doing the approving. Workflow is what is the process that something needs to get approved. So if I just use this new workflow from template, there is a whole bunch of different items here that we can go ahead and grab. First, like from anything from job queue stuff to general journal batches, and lines when you're going ahead and doing that type of thing. documents, purchases and payables, vendor approval. Some people, I'm going to pick out a few of these. Vendor approval can be used for approving changes to vendors, depending upon how large your organization is. So if somebody needs to go ahead and have final approval on vendor changes, or if we come down here with customer approvals, same thing with items. All of these things can be gone ahead and said, hey, you know what? This needs approval by somebody else in order to go ahead and save that change. We're not going to go ahead and go through those today, but what I would like to go ahead and set up is the purchase quotes. And when you click on that template, it'll go ahead and give it a default code for you. And then the purchase quote, the description, and then here are the workflow steps. Those workflow steps uh, basically go ahead and are the script that BC will use in order to go ahead and use approvals or set approvals from here. These should work out of the box for most people, and then you can go ahead and adjust these as necessary, depending upon what you would like to go, how your organization wants to go ahead, or how your client or would like to go ahead and do this. So, like for example, adding record restrictions. Um, we can go ahead and have like, okay, here is it? Ah, um, adding the record restriction. Set the document status, create the approval request from the approval side, and then send that request for the record and from there. I'm not going to go through all of these, but suffice to say, you can go ahead and add other triggers to go ahead and have those to add other steps, and here's your trigger, this is the condition, and then this is what BC is going to respond with, for lack of a better phrase there. Now that we have that one, let's go ahead and import one for orders. So we have two.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I always forget when going ahead and doing this, and I took when I earlier today when I was going ahead and kind of looking through all this, like, why are the approval stuff not working? You need to make sure that it's enabled. So if it's not enabled, it's not going to do anything there, and it's just going to skip everything. So making sure that that's enabled is a good pro tip there. Um, or if you're having problems and doesn't seem to be working for you, then that could be what's going on. Okay, so now that we have a couple of of the workflows set up, is it plugged in? Yes, exactly. um, is it on? We can now go to the approval setup. Approval user setup. So this here is designed to go ahead and say, okay, who is doing the approving? Who is responsible for going ahead and I should say it this way. Uh, who has to have approval to do things, and who is responsible for that for doing that approval. So for here, I'm going to go ahead and put in dev because that's the login user that I'm using. If we had purchasers and salespeople set up, you could put that information in here in order to go ahead and because certain approval certain workflows can be driven by the salesperson or purchaser code. Who is the approver that needs to approve this user? I'm not going to set anybody up here for this because of the fact that dev, or my user, is the master user. I'm going to get to these fields in a second, and I'm going to put in my email. I'm not going to put in any phone numbers, but I'm also going to check here the approval administrator. So that way, this user is now can do any type of approvals at all. The next person I'm going to set in is Venus. I put you in here.
Aw, I feel so special.
Yeah. Now in this one, Venus needs to have my approval for going ahead and doing. I should have done it the other way around just for fun. Think about it.
I think of you.
Anyway, uh, so yes, I need to go ahead and approve her items. The sales amount approval limit is basically like, hey, maybe she has the ability to go ahead anything up to 100 floof bucks. She can go ahead and approve without any interaction. And same thing with purchase amount, or requested amount too for purchase requests. If this can be arranged, you can go ahead and have this set up as as okay, this person is up to 1,000, um, or 10,000, or a range as well. So there's this. Yeah, we want to discard those changes. Let's go back there because it was just going ahead. So there we go. Okay, so obviously we don't want to go ahead and have it set to unlimited because that would kind of defeat the purpose. And let's put her email address in here. Alrighty. Okay. So at this point, we should be able to go ahead and have, if we create a purchase requisition or a purchase order or quote at this point, we should be able to go ahead and have things locked down a little bit so that we can go ahead and have to go through the actual process here. But I need to go ahead and actually log in as Venus now. Oh, I am logged in as Venus. Okay, never mind. I wasn't sure what I was doing where when I was doing some testing earlier today. So let's go ahead and go, since we were going to talk about purchase quotes anyway, let's go ahead and go to the purchase a purchase quote and talk about this, and we'll see how the interaction of doing a purchase quote or doing will work with the approvals process. Okay, so new one. Looks like we forgot to set something up. And I'm sure everybody remembers how we went ahead and we did this. So we got to select our number series. Quotes, and let's go ahead and let's select today, and starting number PQ, I think. 1 PQ 9999. Warning number PQ 9. Increment by 1. Open. Excellent. So we can also then go ahead and say default, use these as the default numbers. And we can go ahead and say, yeah, that's all good. So now that that's set up, and this is that nice little page here that goes ahead and says, hey, wait a minute, you need to go ahead and do that. All right, so there we go. One of the things that I did see about some of our vendors and items while I was going ahead and going through some of this, BC does have the ability to go ahead and do, and I know that I think we talked a little bit about this not last week, but maybe the week before, in our items. And yes, this is kind of off topic, but still kind of something related. When we had these, like, our items here, one of the things that we didn't do is we didn't put in for our purchasing the vendor number and the vendor item number. So if we buy this particular chewy dog bone from that particular vendor, and we can even put in their SKU or whatever their item number is, BC can go ahead and automatically set up purchase orders and things like that based upon that vendor number, because this is the guy that these are the people that we actually go ahead and order it from. This is really helpful when it comes to doing purchase requisitions, because it will, when you go ahead and say, hey, you know what, I need to, well, I know that I'm low on stock on these items, I need to order them. All you need to do is then go ahead and just fill in the item number, and it will automatically default and later on create a purchase order based upon that vendor. So I'm going to actually do this. I'm going to go ahead and set this a couple of these items up to be our vendor here, just so that when we kind of go through things a little later, we have a little bit of data that we can use to kind of show what happens. Okay, that's four or five. That should work. Okay, so let's go ahead and use one. And now we're going back to our purchase quotes. We're going to go ahead and say, hey, we're going to make this. We're going to have this particular vendor that we're going to use. We are going to go ahead and say we want to order an item. Let's go ahead and just do that squeaky rubber ball. We can put in our location code and how many of these squeaky rubber balls that we are going to go ahead and need. So say that we're just going to order an extra 100. The direct unit cost excluding tax is how much are we going to pay for these? Considering that I think that these squeaky rubber balls we sell for $3.99, we can put in, well, let's say we can buy them for $149, and that goes ahead and starts is basically our purchase quote. Purchase quotes mainly are used to go ahead and, as a first step process, to go ahead and have to negotiate with your vendor to go ahead and get a better price, or to go ahead or get some special terms, some discounts, or bulk ordering. So that's a first step before it turns into a full purchase order. So it's technically, if you're looking at it from for all the way across the board, you can negotiate with the purchase quote. You have your purchase order where you're basically saying, okay, we are going to buy it now. This is our order for you to go ahead and do this, and then that will then go ahead and, well, obviously you can even see here, make order. This will turn into a purchase order. Then that purchase order can then go ahead and turn into that invoice, along with any of those shipping documents and stuff that we talked about last time. Everybody with me so far? Okay. So
Kinda.
if we, huh?
Yay.
Yay?
Yay.
Okay. Notice here though, like when we were doing this before, we did not have this request approval button up here at the top. That only gets turned on when we've actually turned on approvals for certain areas. So in this particular case, if I try to go ahead and say make order, we will get an error. And let's see if I can. Yeah. I have this nice nifty little. It's supposed to have this nice nifty little thing that'll kind of zoom in, but it's not working with Restream, evidently. So I will it's basically what it says here is its purchase quote PQ00001 must be approved and released before you can perform this action. So, okay, this is the whole approvals process coming into effect here. It's blocking us from making that order until it gets approved. So even if I tried to release it, we get another message. This document can only be released when the approval process is complete. So it's really out of the box. BC is not locking this stuff down with the that workflow rule that we went ahead and we had talked about. So I have to go ahead and say send approval request. Click. An approval request has been sent. So notice how the status has changed to pending approval. What I need to do now is I need to log out of Venus's account and come back into mine. And give it a second here. If we look down here at the bottom, oh, well, not the bottom. Oh, I should have some. Oh, ha! I'm in the wrong company. Oopsie! I was like, where are my approval requests?
It happens to the best of us. It's okay.
Oh, it happens to me all the time. I'm just hopefully I can catch myself before doing anything else. So okay, here we go.
I have the approval here.
Yep.
The request.
Yep. We now have under the approvals, we have pending approvals, and we have a request to approve. You're having way too much fun with it. Or is Jeremy in the background going ahead and having fun with all the little tags? Anyway, so here we go. We have the purchase quote. We have the any comments that we would like to go ahead and put in there. We can get to that in a second. Who sent it? Venus, you sent it. How much it was for, and which the approval due date. This is today. Interestingly enough, my things have reverted to U.S. No, they would be U.S. notation.
But the company is U.S. located.
Yeah, you're right. No, it was too many ways of going ahead and looking at months and stuff, and I went, oh wait, this is supposed to be a. Anyway, so we go ahead. No, I thought you were going to say something.
No.
Okay. So we have open record, where we can go ahead and just see what this record is, and if there was anything else. Maybe we say, oh, wait a minute. Well, hold on. We need to go ahead and put in a line discount or something like that. So I can go ahead and right from the approve button here, I can go ahead, which only shows up for me because I'm the one that's supposed to be approving this. I can go ahead and go, hey, approve, reject, or even have comments. Delegate is also something that you can set up. We don't have a delegate right now, mainly because of the fact that we only have 2 users in the system. But you can go ahead and say, you know what? I don't have time to deal with this right now, or I don't know who. This is kind of above my pay grade. I really should go to, or this really needs to go to somebody else for approval. So you can go ahead and say, you know what? I'm going to delegate this to somebody else. Well, we don't have anybody set up, so it's still just me. But this would go ahead and push it to somebody else in the approval setup or approval user setup. So we're going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to put in a comment. Approval comments. Doesn't this need a discount? And then it puts.
No one gets discount.
Well, yeah, So that goes ahead and puts in the user ID and the date and time of when we did that. So then I'm going to go ahead and click reject. Yoink. And now it returns the status to open. And if I go back here, it removes that from the request to approve. If we wanted to go ahead, since I'm the admin, this view menu allows us to go ahead and say view all requests. That means any of the ones that are rejected, any of the ones that might go to somebody else, or even anyone that are going to somebody else, and the history of all of the status are approved and everything. So now that we have this, I can go back to Venus.
I'm here.
Yeah, I know. Looking pretty as always.
Oh.
And now that we have this here, we're not going to go ahead and see. Yeah, so since we don't have any pending approvals or anything else here. We can now go back to our purchase quotes, and here's the one that we were working with, and we can see that it was opened again. It's set up as opened. If we go to actually, I thought it was maybe approval. Oh no. If we go to our approval entries, I think this is it. Yes. We can see here that under our approval entries that we have since these are our approval items. So we can go ahead and say, well, wait a minute, here is the here's a line. This is the sequence number that we did first. Your sequence, the sequence number with this was the initial request. And then this one was the rejected notice that's coming back. And you can see that coming from, here's the approver IDs that are there. If we look at comments, we can see that, oh, well, wait a minute, this one was doesn't this need a discount type of item. So we can go back and say, oh, you know what, we're going to go ahead and do a line discount of 1%. I don't know, not much of a discount, but it is a little discount. And then now that we've updated it, we can go ahead and resend the approval request. And if we go back to, let's show this, the approval entries. Yep, we can see here now that this is going forward. Now, I do notice that this is kind of a little confusing.
Mm-hmm.
This line here is that you approved it. Like, for example, you approved it, but it still needs approved by me as the dev. So
Why
at
does it say
least
that I approved it? I just requested for approval.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the status. I would agree that status is a little odd, but that's how they bid it. So but technically, I guess you approved it and you said, hey, well, wait a minute, should all be ready to go, and now it needs to be approved by myself. So now so if we sign out again, and I sign in as dev.
Is it the correct company?
Yes, it's the correct company. I can now look here. Oh, here's my request to approve. And I can then say, oh, yeah, you know what? Perfect. Let's go ahead and approve this. And we should be good. So now we can go ahead and we can sign out. Sign back in as Venus. And now if we look at our purchase quotes, we can see that it's been released, and now we can go ahead and turn this into an order. Do you want to convert this quote to an order? Yes, I do. This has been converted to order number P00003. Do you want to open it? Yeah, why not? Ta-da! So, one other thing about approvals that I'm not able to show you right now. Approvals do have the ability to go ahead and email the request out. But since this is a Docker container, I don't have any way of setting that stuff up. It's locked. Well, it's locked in its own little environment, and the email setup and everything else hasn't been done. So it's not going to go ahead and send an email. Nor there's another option that you have is to go ahead and send it through the job queue process. And if I look at job queue entries, See, we have this. This is that code unit. It's called notification and entry dispatcher. These will go ahead and send notifications to in BC to let people know that they might have an approval. Once again, because this is Docker, I don't have job queue enabled, so it's not going to go ahead and actually send anything or do anything with that for right now. But yes, there are out of the box. There are two different ways of going ahead and sending that notification that there is something for you to approve. Can either be done by email or it can be done by the actual notification process inside of BC. So, okay. So, in general, that's approvals, which is nice. Let's go back to Prado. Just that would be helpful. Purchase orders. Now that we have this purchase order for this vendor, there's a few other ways that we can go ahead and generate these. I had to go ahead and should I start with sales to go ahead and let's go back. I wanted to go ahead and talk about some of the alternative order addresses, as well as going ahead and talking about doing kind of like drop shipments and the batch orders. However, there's a couple of things that we need to go ahead and kind of set up. The ship to. Notice we have a customer address down here. That's what we're referring to as the alternate, or what these alternate order addresses are. We can go ahead and this is obviously the default is company address, wherever our company address is where it's going to. If we had a location of like this was a warehouse, yes, we can go ahead and do that. This is a warehouse. We can have it go ahead and ship directly to the warehouse if we would like it to. The other one here is a customer address, and this is where the drop shipment part of the drop shipment stuff comes into place. For people who may not know, a drop shipment is when instead of going ahead and ordering, when you have a sales order, instead of going ahead and having that sales order come to your warehouse first and then go ahead and then be sent onto the customer, BC has innately has the ability to go ahead and say, well, wait a minute, hey vendor, instead of sending us this item or these items, send it to this customer for us instead. And so that's what's happening there is the vendor will then go ahead and go, oh, okay, we want to send it to this address, and that's called a drop ship, or this customer address. So we can go ahead and do that, and then we can have a ship to code. That's his. I guess we gotta go ahead and update this. Okay. So, however, we really need to go ahead then and also link this to a sales order that we're going ahead and that we're actually going ahead and doing. Now, in order to do that, BC has hidden, or Microsoft has hidden some extra fields here that go ahead and allow for this type of thing. They are, no, it's not purchase. I need what's the field called? No, that's not payment. Well, there's this drop shipment, which is right there. We can just say on high to show that. We have blanket. blanket order number. Okay, so if this was a blanket order coming from the blanket from the other different type of document, we can also go. This is where this would get linked. I'm going to add this here. We'll see if we have time to go ahead and kind of go through that and to chat about that. Special order. Come on, order. There we go. Oh, okay. So special orders we can't do from this. We can't do from this side. We'll go ahead and we'll show. Once I get over to the sales side of this, we'll go ahead and I'll add that there for that. I think that's it. There might be one more that we can see on this. One more field that we can see on the screen. Let me just check. Purchasing code. That's what it is. But I don't know if that's going to be on this side. Nope, it's not going to be on here. Okay. Or purchasing. I mean, just make sure I'm doing. Yep. Okay. So now that we've added those and we've added them to our personalization, we'll go ahead and we can see in here that this is going to be a drop, like this we can go ahead and see as a drop shipment. Now we still have to link these, so let's go ahead and let's create for our customer, and we did go ahead and we set him up here that this is going to be our first customer. So if we go ahead now and go with sales order, and we create a sales order for that customer, we can okay, nope, I've already added them here. So here's our purchasing code, here's our drop shipment, here's our special order field, and once again, if we had the over here, if it was a blanket order, we could add that information and we can put that information in there. Like I said, we'll try to go through that in a little while. So here's item, and what was the item that we were going to go ahead and buy? I forgot. Purchase orders. Here's our purchase order. So here it is. Okay. It's a squeaky rubber ball.
It will never get old.
Nope, not at all. Okay, so purchasing code. Let's add some purchasing codes so we can show how what those look like. So you can have a bunch of these in here depending upon what type they are and what you're using them for. I'm just going to go ahead and do two. One for drop shipment. And I will mark that as such, and then one for special order. Let's do it that way. Okay. So that now, when we go ahead and select this, it's going to automatically go ahead and put those in there for each one of those. So this is a drop shipment. And assemble to order. Everything looks good. Since we're ordering 1,000, 100, did I say 100 or say 1,000? No, yeah, I put in 1,000. We just wanted 100. Too many zeros.
What are we gonna do with 1,000 squeaky balls?
Ball pit?
How many dots do you have?
I don't know. So then we can now see if we should be able to go up. Okay, so purchase order number. Now, here's the thing that I was a little confused on, and I haven't been able to go ahead and do. Here, I thought that we could automatically link these. worksheets. Now, that doesn't seem to be the case. Let's go ahead and go to personalize again and see if we can get the yeah, see, that's not there. Oh, because I was on the wrong thing. I was on the header, not the... No, that is there. Now I see. Yeah, I'm thinking that I could have sworn that there was a link that you could go ahead and use here and have it set up. This purchase order number does have is available back in the table itself, but I was trying to remember how to go ahead and get them to link up, and that is like, let's go ahead and see. Let's go here and see functions, reserve, manage. All right, let's see if we go back to the sales, the purchase order, and see if we can go ahead and do it this way. Order, drop shipment. See, sales order. Now, see, I can't do that because it's still not linking. Yeah, I am not sure. I'm not sure why that's not working. See, this is the other thing too, is that we could go ahead and, as part of the, here's another part of the process too that we could maybe, so we go to the requisition worksheet. Just so people know, requisition worksheet is a purchase, basically a purchase requisition, or a purchase gets kind of created as a purchase order. This is a worksheet that allows you to go ahead and say, hey, I know that I'm going to need X number of this item, this item, this item, and this item. And you can go ahead and say, hey, wait a minute, get sales orders from certain ones here. These there came in. This is why I was getting confused. I didn't have this working before, but yeah. So what this did is we did a drop shipment, and since that sales order was a drop shipment, it came in here saying, hey, you know what? We know that we need 100 of these, and we can go ahead and then create a purchase order for them. Notice here that the vendor number came in as well as the vendor item number, since we had set that already on the vendor on the item card, so that BC knew that this was that item was attached to that vendor. So okay, that's that. Now, if we go ahead and we say from the requisition, and nice thing about this, about the requisitions, there's a lot of different features in here called like things like calculate plan, which will go ahead and say, hey, you know what? If we were doing something like if we needed to change the quantity or reschedule stuff, we can use the calculate plan item to go ahead and say, hey, for these particular dates, we need to using the forecast, how do we go ahead and push dates out to go ahead and see how long it's going to go ahead and take. And that's kind of part of the order promising functionality that we've seen. Or no, that we haven't seen, that will hopefully go over a little bit later later today. But there we go. Now, if I go ahead then and I say carry out action message, it's going to say, hey, give me a new, and in this case, purchase document. I don't need to print any orders, but there we go. So now when we get here, here's our PO. So this is the original one that we had, but if we look down here now, we have here's the squeaky ball. It's a drop shipment. There's the quantity, and there's the rest of the information for that. Now, I bet if we go to order and we go to drop shipment and sales order, that's okay. That's how it's linked. That's how it's supposed to link up there. So it was the requisition worksheet. So there we go. Well, at least we got that sorted by now this time. Okay. So at this point, then you would go ahead and just do your sales order or for a drop shipment or a special order. You would go through and you would do your calculations and postings the same way. So we would go ahead and say, hey, you know what? We would post this ship an invoice, because since it's a drop shipment, we're not the one shipping it. We can just say ship an invoice. Purchase order PO00004 must be approved and released before we can perform this action. So that means that we got to go back to request approval.
Mm-hmm.
We send the approval request. Oh, no approval. Oh, you know why?
Why?
Because
It's
this is a sales. Since we've activated this, it's trying to go ahead, and since even though that we are going ahead and posting from here, it's
Mm-hmm.
also trying to post the purchase side of the document for us, but it can't because of the fact that we have the purchase document it hasn't been approved yet. So here's our purchase order. So now if we send this approval request, here's the approval request. Sign outs. Dev. Oops. Password. We will go down here to our request to approve. We will say approve and go back. And now we will go to our sales order. And post. Ship an invoice. Oh, inventory posting setup doesn't what? Okay. So what this error is let's see if we can view this a little bit more. The inventory posting setup does not access identification fields and values, location code blank, and inventory posting group is normal. So since this particular one was a drop shipment, we didn't set up we don't have a blank location code that we can use to go ahead and have to use with this. So what we need to do is we need to actually say something like call this maybe drop ship. Use as an in transit, and I think that's fine. Inventory posting setup. No, well, actually, no, I'm wrong. I just realized this. This actually drop ship is not necessary. I think if I would have read the message properly. Here. So we don't have a group for blank and normal or seasonal for these. So we were going to use this inventory accounts for that. Oopsie, come on. There it goes. So now it should work. Once again, the problem here is that since we're using a blank location code, there's no setup for a blank normal, blank seasonal. So that's the reason why it wasn't working. So let's go back. Let's try again. Ship an invoice. Yep. There it goes. The order is posted as the PS I
Could you read
and
that properly? I cannot read it. To screen blind me.
the order is posted as number PSI 100002 and it has moved to the posted sales invoices window. Would you like to open up that posted sales invoice? We're going to say yes. And there we are. Then here's our posted sales invoice for that. So, on the other side of this now, if we go to our purchase orders, notice how this has been released for
Mm.
us, because that's with the approval process. We can then put in our invoice. Ta-da! Here's the drop shipment. They know that it's going to the customer address and it's going to their ship code. Oh, this has 2 errors. Validating the field ship to code revealed a problem with the field status. So what this is actually saying here is that, wait a minute, you can't change the ship to code because this document has already been released. So in order to go ahead and fix that, we need to go ahead and reopen. Oops, well, let's get it refreshed first. Let's go ahead and say reopen. It's now open again. We now can go ahead and say, hey, this needs to go to this, um, to so, and this warning is, hey, you've changed the location code on the purchase header, but it has not been changed on the existing lines. You have to update the existing purchase lines manually to fix that. Well, considering that, oh, yep, have you modified the tax area code? No, not really. There we go. And since the location code now is that, well, because of the fact that this customer has a default location code of this, that means that the lines haven't been updated with that either. Um,
Why won't it let you?
well, yes, and this is the reason why, because we originally went ahead and originally have already this has already been received, uh,
Mm-hmm.
sort of because of the fact that this is a drop shipment. It's saying quantity to receive not invoiced must be 0 in the line on the purchase document for the purchase lines. But you know, uh, but and the current value is 100. Well, in this particular case, this doesn't matter because of the fact that it's a drop. In our case, it's a drop shipment for our scenario, but that doesn't mean that this might need to be filled in with, depending upon your organization and how they are wanting to track those drop shipments. So, okay, there we go. There's that. There's that. There's that. Now we can go ahead and say post. Now we got to reapprove it. Yeah, that is one of the things that I do, that I know that I've heard complaints about. If it's been approved once and something like a minor change like that has to happen, um,
Well, it's logical that you need to reapprove it because
it
someone
is.
needs to approve the changes that happen.
Absolutely. But I've also heard people going, well, wait a minute. If there hasn't been any monetary change, like the amount hasn't changed, then we don't want to have it go through the approval process again if it's already been done. And I can see their point in that. But it's the way that BC works is that if that status changes back to open, it needs to go through the approval process again. Now, granted, that can be if as a developer, that's one of those things that we could go ahead and do a modification on, to go ahead and change. I don't think that that's something that we could change through workflows. Although I will admit I've never tried to test that. Hmm. Might be good to go ahead and there might be an interesting little concept to go ahead and see if you can change that using the workflow uh, setup, to go ahead and to do that. Anyway, going back to my request to approve, I can go ahead and reapprove this. Go back, sign out, sign in again. And now let's go back to our purchases. Here's our released one. And now let's see what it'll let us post. We're going to receive this and we're going to invoice it. Yep, there we go. Yay! So now this particular one is a drop shipment, and special orders kind of work the same. Do kind of work the same way, and all of those are actually coming. If when you pass them through the requisition worksheet, you can go ahead and do and link these so that you know that these are drop shipments or these are some type of special order or special request from customers and things. Okay. So we kind of covered drop shipments. Oh, batch orders. Batch orders. No. Not batch orders. That's not what I'm thinking of. Blanket. We have blank. Okay, so well, let's just open this up and we can go ahead and see this. So here's this. Blanket sales orders are very similar, and same thing with purchases, are very similar to regular regular orders. The difference here, though, is that let's see, prepare this. Let's go ahead and just do this. Here's this. We're setting up I'm just doing a regular setup of the thing. And then we go say that he chewy dog bones. And he gets 10 to another one here. 10, okay. So there's our stuff coming in. So invoice details. No, that's not what I'm looking for. No, that's all the same too.
What are you looking for?
I am looking for the. Hold on. No, maybe this is not it. Give me 1 second. I might have gotten myself confused, which is not a difficult thing to do.
Squirrel.
Yeah, exactly. What?
No, the squirrel was on screen.
Oh, it was. I missed it.
Someone was faster than I am.
Mm-hmm. Okay. No, I guess. Okay. So, all right. Going back with this. Sorry, I was thinking that this wasn't working the way that I was expecting it to. Blanket sales orders and blanket purchase orders are basically a way of going ahead and having a group of basically like a long-term contract that is basically saying, hey, you know what, this customer is going to go ahead and buy a bunch of items from us at various times. The difference between a sales order is just going to go ahead and say, here's the order, you're getting it all at once, or as close as you possibly can. With a blanket order, the order after it's been posted doesn't leave. It's designed to go ahead and stick around, so that you can go ahead and ship portions of it as either as the customer requests them or whatever other contract you have there. So it's a little bit easier to go. Well, it's a little bit more of a long-term option rather than just regular, just like a regular, normal sales order. So even though that we can go ahead and we can say, hey, wait a minute, quantity. Here's the quantity. Well, let's go ahead and say that he's ordering 100 and 100. And then we can go ahead and say, I think it's unposted lines for the orders. Yeah, okay. So this is our, hey, these are not, we don't have anything that is not posted yet. The other thing about blanket sales orders and purchase orders is that they don't come out of inventory, if I remember correctly. So that way, these are more of a special thing that happens, you know, every so on a particular schedule. I want to go ahead. This is a sales document. I want to go ahead and do. That's that. Now, looking for send home blanket sales order. I would like to. I don't want to make an order. Yeah, maybe this is what I need to do. Create an order from the blanket order. Yes, but I don't want to do all lines. I just wanted to go. See, here we go. Notice here that once I had the created sales order, it created an order for me,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't go ahead. This is still here. It hasn't gone ahead and done, and it's still available to be modified and used and ready to go. So now I believe if we go to sales orders rather than blanket sales orders, we see, yep, here's our sales order for him. And there's the quantities of the 100 and things like that. Now, I'm thinking if we reduce this down to say 10 and 10 and post this, I think we need to actually do this. The customer's credit limit has been reached. Yeah, see, here's our blanket sales orders and which line they came from. I think, if I remember correctly, if we ship and invoice this, yep, nope, we don't need to see the posted one. Now, if we go to blankets, I think that reduces it down to, and I might be misremembering this. Does this reduce it down to 90? No, it keeps the original. Oh, no, there it is. Notice how this one now is quantity shipped and quantity due ship has been reduced down because we shipped 10 of them already and with that make order process.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how this is the way that you can do it. You can see the original quantity over here, and then you know how many more they are with whatever agreement it was or whatever whatever sales things that they did. You can see that this was gradually will keep being reduced until the blanket order has been fulfilled. So, this is also purchase blanket orders. I work pretty much the same way. It's just from the purchasing side, and that's between you and your vendor in order to go ahead and do that. Okay, so that kind of goes ahead and goes over that. We also, I'm just trying to look and going through here. When I went through the when we were, I was the other thing that we have written here on the schedule to go ahead and talk about is is the return orders. But after going ahead and looking at that, um, okay, there's a difference between these and a purchase credit memo. And that's the reason why, yeah, see purchase credit memos. The difference between short form difference between the two is the purchase credit memo is just a credit memo that is being issued as part of a correction or as you don't want those items back. Or the vendor in this particular case doesn't want those items back. That way you can go ahead and you can pop in the purchase credit memo. This credit memo will then be linked to whatever the credit memo from the vendor, and that balancing your books that way. Purchase return orders, however, are slightly different. Oh, I thought another one that we missed. Purchase return order. If I could type today, that would be helpful too.
No.
No?
Brain will not cooperate.
Evidently not.
Isn't it enough that BC is cooperating with you today?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, warning number, purchase return order. Oops. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to rename this. Because if you look at this, I was just looking at this and realized if we do purchase return order and then zeros, that's going to make it really difficult to kind of read a little bit. So we'll just go purchase return and remove the 0 out of here. And then we can go ahead and do the warning number is 9999, and there we go. Excellent. And we'll do the default numbers there. Awesome. Close. Okay, so anyway, that was kind of shiny squirrel, but kind of necessary in order to get this to get everything to work. So,
yes.
We are going to go ahead and say, hey, you know what? We purchased from our vendor. This is the credit memo number. This is a CR, VCR. Do you remember what a VCR is there, Venus, or are you too young?
I do.
Oh.
If you would actually believe it, yes. I mean, look, 23, but I do know what VCRs are.
Okay. Now, a question is did your family ever own one?
Yes, we did.
Ah.
Yes. The last thing I remember watching on it was Tom and Jerry. That had like a VCR tape with Tom and Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last thing we watched on it.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, going through this, since we are going ahead and we are doing this is the return order, this passes through the shipment process to make sure that we have that's how much did we buy these for? Let's go $5.99 or $145.49. This will go through the returns and the shipment process so that you know and you can see how that and have those records of those shipments coming leaving the warehouse. Quantity invoice, and once again, shipping and payment. We went to default pay to the invoice details. Yep, good. So now if we post this, if we do the ship and invoice, return shipment must have a
what?
Return shipment number. What? Return shipment number. Show more. I thought we set that up.
You did? No.
Huh.
No, I don't think we did.
Okay, well, let's go. This would be purchase. Oh, you know what?
What?
I was just thinking back for like where's my, there it is. Purchases and payables. I was just thinking that it was, here it is. Here's the return shipment. We did this for the sales side. We didn't do it for the purchasing side. That's the reason why I was a little confused.
I forgive you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm a very forgiving person today.
Scissors return shipment. Come on. Yeah, that would have been a very bad typo. Glad nobody saw it.
You're lucky I was looking away.
Okay. Okay, close this. Default numbers. Good. So now, good. Cool. All right, now we should be able to post it. Okay, the return orders have been posted and moved to the credit memos. And there are our credit memo. There's our credit memo for that, where we're going ahead and getting 46 pounds back. or floof bucks, sorry, floof bucks. But this will also go ahead then and allow us to go ahead and go to postage purchase return shipments, and there we can see and have that tracking and that record of that this one header did go out. So okay, no questions from anybody. Wow.
No one likes to ask us any questions.
Yeah, I know.
It just means you're such a good teacher.
I don't know. No, that's definitely not the case.
Are you blushing?
No, hopefully not. It's sunburn. It's sunburn from this weekend where I was out doing gardening.
How very domestic of you.
No, it was more of, dear, can you please help me with this? My wife going ahead and saying. Okay, so we did talk about the alternative order addresses. We did a purchase return order. We talked about drop shipments.
Yeah.
We talked about the purchase quotes and the purchase orders and the differences and how the sales. Well, we did it from the sales side, but we did the sales blanket orders,
Yeah.
and the purchase blanket orders are kind of the same thing. It's just for the purchasing side. So that's pretty good. The only thing that we haven't kind of done, and obviously we went over approvals today and how to get those set up and
Yes, and you
working.
also talked about requisition of worksheets, and you
Mm-hmm.
talked about a lot of things today.
We did.
I listened. You did.
I know you do. The one thing that Jeremy went ahead and did want us to do, as we were talking about, is order promising. Order promising ties into sales in a way to go ahead and say, hey, we would like to get this particular order to you by X time or X date. But sometimes we don't have it in stock, or we don't have the item, or we have to make the item, or things like that. So by going ahead, and BC has the ability to go ahead and say, hey, you know what, we know come on, or with using order promising setup, we can go ahead and adjust the sales dates. So if we go sales orders, do we have one here yet? No, I'll need a sales order. Let's just go ahead and use this guy. When we are talking about, here's the posting date, here's the order date, here's the due date. It's this due date that it's trying to go ahead and try to fill in for us. The requested delivery dates and the promised delivery dates, I believe, also go ahead and get are used in that particular thing. If you'll also notice here too, that there is, here's the plan. Here's these two: plan delivery date, plan shipment dates, and then the actual shipment date. All of these now. I will freely admit this is not one of the areas of the system that I am completely familiar with. So we're going to go ahead and try to go through this together a little bit. The offset time is the a period of time to wait before issuing a new purchase order, production order, or transfer order. So this works in the conjunction with the requisitions. I think too, to go ahead and say, well, wait a minute. As if we're going to go ahead and do a purchase order for this particular item or a transfer order or assembly, how many days do we need just to go ahead and make sure that we're not trying to issue that too early? So say that we need an extra 7 days. Just give us a week before that process is starts up. Once again, we have another order promising number, so let's go ahead and get that number series in here. Today. And there's our warning number, OP. Okay, there's that. And that's the default. Go ahead and do that. Okay. Order promising template. Now this is the requisition requisition worksheets. If you would go ahead and these templates and these worksheets get populated when you go ahead and open up the requisitions for the first time. So if you come in here and you look at order promising setup and these are blank, and notice you can't add a new one, you'll actually have to add them from the general journal template, or just open up the requisition worksheet and it'll automatically create it for you. So little hint there for that. So that's offset time there. So now if we go ahead and we say, let's go back over to here. Let's do kind of a with that one purchase sales order that we have. Sales order here. Let's go ahead and do this. And let's say that this is, we need to have the items. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to order some of these. We're going to order some of these, and these. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and, I don't know what our inventory levels are for these. So let's go ahead and go to line. Let's go to item availability by location. Okay. So we have 43 on hand there. So let's go ahead and say we're going to order 50. So that means that the availability is lower. So that's good. That's exactly kind of what we were wanting to do. So location, this has 25. So let's also order 50. Let's go to, once again, see what this item availability, this is 82. So we're going to order 100. And then this is number 3, the squeaky ball. And then, sorry, how many do we have? We have 26. But look at this. This also has a scheduled receipt of 100. So that might go ahead and change our stuffs. So, okay. So there's our tax things, our quantity to invoice. Yeah, so right now, all of this is being set to today. So if we have this and if we release it, think we can just release this. And then we go to our requisition worksheet and we say, get sales orders. I think this is going to require that it's going to be a special order. Yeah, because there's no sales orders to retrieve. I don't think that there is. Yeah, see, that's not. Yeah, see, I don't think that there's a way to go ahead and do this. Get automatically pull that information without it being a special order. But we could go ahead and say, well, wait a minute. Reschedule. Okay, so no, we can't do this. What this action message is saying is that we can't do a reschedule here because it's a. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's just because of the fact that it's not there yet. So let's go ahead and just refresh this item. Yeah. So here let's go ahead and go back for 1 second. Let's go back to our thing. If we make this a special order, which we can do, we'll go ahead and release this. I'm sorry, go ahead and reopen it. Ta-da, ta-da. And if we do these as special, so okay, so here's purchasing code, special order, that. Now let's see if I'm pretty sure none of that will then pull it in for the purchase requisition. The requisition. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll just delete this line here. And then we go ahead and get special orders, get sales orders. Okay, so now that'll pull that in there. But if I want to just recalculate, yeah, see, that doesn't do that. And that's not how that's working the way that I
Why is it doing that?
What I was trying to get it to do is there should be a way that we can go ahead and say, well, wait a minute, since this is on that sales order, we know that the date the date's going to need to be changed because we don't have any in our system or we don't have enough to go ahead and fulfill this order. So we're making up a purchase order, but we also need to go ahead and change the sales order information so that we know that when the shipment is going to be able to actually be sent. I thought this is the way to do it, but it might be that I just need to do a little bit of more research on, how this actually works. Like I said, I haven't done this in a very long time. Yeah. Is it maybe because of the fact? Now, see, that's just GL account. So, yep. All right. I think this is going to be one of those things that we're going to need to go ahead and I'm going to need to come do a little bit more research on and try to remember how this actually works. And we'll go ahead and we'll go from there. We'll go ahead and pick this one up next time. And we can go ahead and we'll start off with the order purchasing order. Not order purchasing. I said order purchasing, and I didn't mean that. Order promising, not purchasing. Geez. And we'll go ahead and we'll do that. We'll start with that next time. For the schedule, though, I know that we have next Thursday is the 16th, 2024. And we have, let's see if I can pull up my information here about that. And see, pull up our nice little nifty spreadsheet, or not our spreadsheet, but our document that we were, kind of like, these are the things that we wanted to talk about. So let's go ahead and go to here. And there's this. And where is that? No. Excuse me. All right. Because
So
these are the items that we were going to go ahead and talk about. No, wait a minute. Where's my?
where's all
It's
I
not
see
coming
is
up. Hold
me.
on.
Now
Oh,
it's
no.
me. Yeah, I'm too big on the screen. Wait.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay. So, let's go ahead and talk. Let's add some extra check marks so that we know which ones we've actually gone ahead and done. So we've gone ahead and talked about approvals.
Yes.
Yay. Go away. So we did that. That's cash flow forecast. Maybe we'll go. We did talk about multi-currency. Talked about that. Alternative order addresses. We talked about that today.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about return orders. We
We
talked about
did.
drop shipments.
We did.
We did talk. We
Purchasing.
did talk a little bit. Talked about the requisition worksheets and stuff
Well,
like that.
yes, you did explain what they are, and
And we did do one.
we did.
So we did the quotes. We did that one. So
We have
I
it in dark mode. What's
think
all of you developers looking for the dark mode? Why?
I think it's easier. Well, we normally like our like dark caves and stuff like that. So
Squirrel.
yep, that was definitely a squirrel.
Okay,
Uh,
going back. Yes,
yeah. So okay.
requisitions, posted sales invoices. We also talked about them.
Mhm.
Blanket sales orders.
Yeah. Really, what we're going to be getting into next, I
Uh-huh.
think, is going to talk about some of the the basic inventory items,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, let's talk about. Yeah, let's just talk about let's go with some inventory stuff for next time. Um, we also can kind of do like line discounts and invoice discounts. We kind of did see a little bit of that today, about how to go ahead and do that. So let's talk about line discounts. And yeah, let's see. Anything else? Cash flow forecast. Document archiving. Oh, we should. Yeah, let's talk about document archiving next time too. Okay, yeah. So order promising. I just want to take some notes so I know what we're going to do next for next time. Um, let's talk about document archiving, because that's a nice simple one to go ahead and show how how things go ahead and get how you can archive documents in them in parts of the process, so that you have a record of changes from the customer or from your vendor. We'll talk about the line discounts and invoice discounts on both sides. Sales, purchase, line, line invoice discounts. Okay. And then we will meet. Well, yeah. Then that'll give us a little nice time to go ahead and maybe start about talking about basic inventory
Mm-hmm.
and item analysis. Okay, that's a good five items. Maybe, and if we can do, if we can get to it, we'll talk about bins. As part of that. So, all right, that's a good 6 items that we can go ahead and go through, especially since the order promising. We weren't real. I wasn't real. We'd have to go out and kind of probably go back and kind of take care of and talk about a little bit more. But so yeah, if anybody is you know Anybody
Mhm.
else has any questions or whatever we want to go ahead and talk about or say or anything else? Now's the time. Otherwise,
I
we
don't
will.
know why people don't want to contribute. I don't know why people don't want to ask any questions.
I don't know either. It's just. It is one of those things where I know that Jeremy went ahead and kind of pinged from LinkedIn. I was actually wondering if Restream was having a problem and not having not having. Yep. So anyway, that sounds like a good. This is a good stopping point. We'll go ahead and we'll come back. We'll come back on Thursday. We'll talk about those items and we can go from there. I guess that's it.
I'll see you
Everybody,
next week.
see. Well,
No,
no.
Thursday.
See you next Thursday.
We had so many Thursdays where we were not working in a row, so it's
Yeah, that's true.
difficult.
That's true. But
Yes.
okay, guys. Thank you very much. We will see you next time.